All right, Todd, opening day, July 25th. You guys here at the Downs getting ready. The track, like we just went through, is in great shape. Nice firm track here. You're hoping inside you get the gaming going, but you got a date for racing to begin. How exciting is that? And how ready are you guys here at Batavia Downs to get racing back here on the track?
Well, since I'm the racing manager, general manager, racing is everything for me. There's nothing like opening night. We get to see all our fans. I hope that's the case. As of today, that won't be the case, but perhaps things will change by July 25th. But it's like being at a ballpark. There's nothing like opening night. We've been working hard, our guys behind the scenes. You guys walked the barn area with me. It's in great shape. The racetrack's coming along nicely. We're working in the clubhouse. We hope to have that open by July 25th as well. So it's a work in progress, but it's coming together nicely, and we expect some great racing here again this summer.
Now, you told me already a big focus of yours has been the track itself. How much work have you guys done on the track, and how comfortable are you that this is ready to go?
Well, equine safety, again, human safety, equine safety is number one. Last year, we were very fortunate. We had one minor injury the whole season. There's PETAs out there watching racetracks as far as breakdowns and things like that. But, this half-mile track with those nice sweeping turns, they're very kind on a horse. We keep a proper cushion, a couple-inch cushion. We had guys out here working in April on it. We grade off the old material, and now slowly we put on the new material. You could see it still needs a little material, but we have added a couple inches, and usually at the end of the year we spend about $30,000 to $40,000 on our racetrack just because the equine safety is number one.
Now, what kind of measures have you had to take, and will you continue to take as racing opens up, and what kind of guidance have you been provided by local government, state government, that you'll have to follow here at the track in order to make sure you maintain social distancing and make sure this is a healthy environment for, like you said, the racers and eventually the fans and the animals alike?
Well, we obviously are following the CDC, their requirements. Also, Genesee County has requirements, and then working with the New York Gaming Commission, who also has requirements. So, we're working with all three agencies to provide that social distancing, the masks, the temperature taking for horsemen, and actually people coming in the front door, the horsemen at the back gate. The horsemen will have a form to fill out to let us know where they've been, if they've traveled outside and things like that. But like I say, I think for us, we caught a break because they've been doing this now at the other racetracks for a couple months now, so they know the protocols, and if they don't follow them, then obviously there's going to be a problem, but I don't think there will be any problem. I think our horsemen will follow them.
All right, why don't you just talk to us about the measures that are being taken in the paddock here to ensure that you maintain social distancing, like I said, here in the paddock?
Well, the biggest thing, Alex, is the face masks. Everyone in the paddock, if you're a horseman, a state employee, or a Batavia Downs employee, you'll be required to wear a face mask at all times. Also, obviously, we'll have to have social distancing. We can't have gathering amongst the drivers. We're not going to allow owners in the paddock. Strictly trainers and grooms and drivers will be allowed in the racing paddock this year. That's the first time I ever remember that. Also, we're going to have people in the paddock, security, making sure that everyone is in compliance with our requirements here. They've been racing at Buffalo under really the same requirements, so they know what they are. This is nothing new to them, and I don't foresee any problems. But again, we'll have people in the paddock. Now, another thing we'll have to do is after the horses leave to race, this is one of the race barns, we'll have people in here sanitizing. Each stall will be sanitized when the horses go out to race. That's something that we haven't done in the past, and that's another requirement. Then after they're done racing, they'll go to the wash stalls, which are around the corner here, and then they'll wash, and then they'll go back to their barns, and then also we'll have people washing those wash stalls. So between sanitizing the stalls and sanitizing the wash stalls, it's going to be a big production this year.
Now, how tough is it with all those people involved at all different levels here, from each building to the next? How difficult has it been training all them and making sure that they're aware of exactly what they need to do in order to maintain that social distancing?
Well, again, we catch a little bit of a break because they've been doing it Buffalo now for over a month since racing resumed there. So when they come here, if they've raced at other tracks in New York State, Tioga, Vernon, they're all doing the same thing. These are all state requirements to reopen racing. So for them here, I think they'll be used to it by now. For our employees, again, we've never had to sanitize before, so this will be something new, but we've had plenty of meetings on it. We've ordered backpacks to sanitize throughout the barn area. There'll be stations to sanitize and things like that. So I don't think it's going to be, I think it was tougher for the tracks that reopened that this was brand new. I think for us, by the time we open July 25th, I think most people will be used to it.
All right, so what's the difficulties with this barn? Obviously a little bit different configuration than the other barn we saw earlier. What are the difficulties you have in this barn?
Well, this is our brand new barn. This was built a couple of years ago as we went from a 4-race paddock to a 6-race paddock. And the difficulty is because of the stalls facing each other, instead of in the other areas where they're back to back, we can't ensure proper social distancing as horses are coming in and out at the same time. So what we're going to do is we're going to alternate stalls in here. We're going to use every other stall, and we're going to have to reduce our paddock this year from a 6-race paddock to a 5-race paddock, which again is acceptable. Some tracks are down to a 3-race paddock. We're also going to limit the time in the paddock from an hour and a half to an hour. Again, most of the tracks are doing this, and that's just trying to keep the contact down amongst the horse people. We don't want anyone getting sick here, so that works fine.
All right, now why don't you tell us about these wash stalls, what the process is in here, why they're so important to the new process here at Batavia Downs.
Well, these wash stalls were put in a few years ago on the request of the DEC, and that's so the water would flow into the proper sewer system. What happens is once the horses leave the paddock to go race, they don't go back to their paddock barn. They come directly here to the wash stalls. They wash and then they go back to the barn. The requirement this year will be our sanitizing team will be in here waiting for them, and once they're done, we'll have to sanitize the wash stalls. Then they'll head back to the paddock as a new set of horses will come in. Now, our Vice President, Scott Kodrowski, he came up with a brilliant idea. We're going to have a red and green switch on each stall so people will know if it's sanitized or not. So I think that's really going to help the flow of how this process works. But these wash stalls are fabulous. They came out, I think they're 3 or 4 years old now, and they really dress up our backstretch here. They work great, and I think everybody enjoys them, to be honest with you.
All right, now why don't you tell us what's going on here in the state office? You're obviously going to probably have to limit people coming in and out, and face masks also.
Correct. Yes. This is the New York State offices along with our race office. New York State will set any policy they want as far as who they allow in their offices, obviously. In our race office, we're going to limit it to 2 people. This is where the races are filled, post positions are drawn, things like this. But whoever enters is going to have a face mask on, obviously. When you enter the barn area, it doesn't matter who you are, an employee, you're going to have your temperature checked, just like when you have to enter our Racino gaming floor. So just more of the policies that have been put in place to keep everybody safe. Safety is number one. Again, I mean, it is what it is, and we just want to get some money in the horseman's pocket. Racing was shut down for a couple of months, so unfortunately we've had to reduce purses, not as much as some other tracks. We did work with Bruce Tubin, the head of the Western New York Horseman Association, to put a 2-year plan in place, and I think the horsemen are going to be very happy. Our feature race will go for $10,000, which is one of the highest purses in New York State right now, and we should be able to maintain that next year as well. So I think the horsemen are going to be very happy about that.
Now, like you said, you're not going to be able to start with fans, but is there any inclination when you may be able to get fans back here at the track? And if not, what do you think you're going to have to do, and how much are you going to have to ramp up those health concentrations to make sure that when fans do come back that you make sure that they leave here healthy? Well,
certainly, with our social distancing, our mask requirement, things like that, people coming in, we'll make sure they have the proper temperature, 100.4 or below. It's going to be a challenge for everyone. There's no question about it. But it's the sign of the times, and we draw fans at this racetrack. So as a general manager, it makes me sick that we may not have fans on opening night. As I was telling Brian, on the first Saturday of the meet, we go through 900 programs, which I don't know if too many racetracks can say that. But, again, we still have some time. Once the governor's office tells us we can have fans, obviously we'll have fans. We're working hard to get our clubhouse open so at least people can go in there and dine. We will not have a buffet. We have a famous buffet we've had for years. Obviously, we won't have a buffet, but we'll have other meals that they can order, and hopefully we'll have a couple self-betting machines in. But I think what our fans are really going to be happy is we've increased, not yet, but it hasn't been approved, but we're working on allowing people to bet on our Batavia Bets online wagering platform, and we're really going to make it worth their while by having some incredible rewards, some of the top in the sport. I can't say what they are today, but certainly there'll be a big press release about that, and I think that's really going to make our fans happy.
Well, like you said, you draw a lot of fans here year in and year out. I believe you set some records last year with how much money you grossed and attendance records and all that. Some tracks may not be able to survive what they've experienced over these past few months, but this is a town, a city that racing is embedded into it. How much do you think that plays to your advantage that racing has been around here forever, and it's really just a part of the city, the town, and the area?
It does. I have to tell you, when I'm meeting with our groups in the clubhouse and they talk about their parents were here in the 50s and 60s, and it's just a special night out, and you don't have to be a big gambler or anything to come. Just being along the rail in the summertime on a nice summer night, having an ice cream cone, whatever, a hot dog. I mean, we do dollar hot dogs in the summertime, things like that. It's just a cheap night. Admission is free, parking is free. You can bring the whole family. The kids can get up to the fence and get right up to the horses and things like that. So, there's more to it than just the betting aspect. People have been coming for years. My first year here, believe it or not, 1973, I fell in love with the track my first year here, and I've been coming back ever since. And this is a special racetrack, not only for Batavia, but for the entire Western New York community. This, for me, I mean, it's not really a job. I mean, I love when you love what you do, it's not really work. And when I joined this organization in 2002, I felt that way. I feel the same way. I just love coming through that front door every day. Not many people can say they're going to work at a racetrack, especially when you love the racing industry. So for me, I do everything I can to keep the traditions of this racetrack. There are so many traditions that were started in the 70s and the 80s, the old-fashioned day, our dollar hot dog day. Those were started back in the 70s. Our driver's bike race, which we still do, that was started back in 1978. So for me, just keeping the history and the traditions of this racetrack. We've had Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer race here. If you go down our hallway at the going into the hotel, you'll see that Legends area where all the colors of our legendary drivers are here. So again, I don't know how much longer. I'm getting a little long in the tooth, but hopefully a few more years. And as long as I'm here, believe me, this racetrack I think will be in great shape.